Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to be going over how to start your own YouTube Shorts channel. And the way I structure this mini guide is going to be for everybody. So if you don't have a lot of money and are going to be doing it yourself, then this is going to work for you. But if you do have some money to invest, this is still going to work for you. I also want to mention I'm only going to cover things that I've personally done in my channels. And there's a lot more things I plan on implementing, but I'm just going to be going over what I've learned so far. First, let's talk about the different topics that are going to be covered in this mini guide. For starters, I'm going to talk about why you should start a YouTube Shorts channel and the opportunity it has for the future. I'm also going to talk about the potential it has and how you can prepare yourself for 2023 with the change in monetization strategies from YouTube. I'm also going to go over the different short styles, which include the interview styles and also the custom styles. I'm also going to be going over different niche examples that have worked in the past. Then I'm going to take you behind the scenes and show you how I actually edit the shorts and show you the final products. Finally, I'm going to show you a case study of a short channel that I created, and I'm going to leave a link to that down below. So why start a YouTube Shorts channel? So the first answer might be money, but before we get to there, if you're on the fence about starting a YouTube channel in general or having some sort of online business, some sort of digital asset, the shorts give you a chance to go ahead and test the waters, test out different niche ideas. So for example, if you were interested in cars and you want to go ahead and test out different types, so you posted some shorts about Hondas, some RAV4s, some Civics, some Lamborghinis, and all of a sudden the Honda Civics got the most popularity in it, keep posting more and more about just Honda Civics. And with YouTube Shorts, you can also experience massive growth, mainly because the demand for shorts is super high, while the supply of it is super low. And you saw this in TikTok, for example. When TikTok first started, nobody really rushed to it. It was like, everybody was like, oh, it's just for kids. And then 2 years later, you see like every single person on TikTok and you see how popular it got. Now, this is what I'm predicting is the same thing that's going to happen to YouTube Shorts, just because they finally figured out a monetization strategy, which I'm going to get to shortly. And finally, money. If you're trying to get some of that Google AdSense, then YouTube currently has the short fund, and there's going to be a bigger potential for shorts, mainly because of the change in revenue. So now shorts are going to go ahead and be implemented into the YouTube partner program, so you can actually get additional AdSense money and not just rely on the shorts fund from it. So previously you had to get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, and the watch hours only counted in long form content, but they went ahead and changed that. So now instead of the watch hours, you can just get 10 million views within 3 months. And I know that sounds like a lot and hard to obtain, but the thing with shorts is virality just comes much easier. A video can take off a lot quicker rather than just posting it in long form. And you can also test out a bunch of different topics and a bunch of different shorts just because the maximum time is going to be 60 seconds. So you can pump out a lot more content, 15, 30, 45, 60-second shorts rather than like a full 8, 20-minute video. And this is going to go ahead and give you a jump start. So if you ever wanted to go ahead and switch to long form content, this gives you the opportunity to test the waters out, see what works, and then go ahead and implement a long form video later on if you choose to do so. So what are the different short styles? And I wanted to go ahead and keep this pretty simple, but as you see over here, the interview style. This is probably one of the most common, one of the most popular forms, and this is also going to be the one I'm going to show you how to do later on. But basically this involves taking a clip from a podcast or an interview, going ahead and breaking it down into little parts, and then adding your own unique twist. So in this case, your unique twist could be zooming in, zooming out, adding subtitles, adding background music, and that's going to go ahead and allow you to actually post it on YouTube, and it's still going to be under fair use. So some good examples of this would be like Grant Cardone, for example, Jordan Peterson, Gary Vee, and later on I'm going to go ahead and show you how I actually edited some of my Gary Vee clips as well too. The only problem with these is that YouTube Shorts are basically flooded with them, and they're pretty saturated when it comes to these interview style types. But you still see some succeeding, and leveraging these big names gives you potential for rapid growth. But there's an even better way to go ahead and do it, and that's going to be through the custom style. So this of course is going to involve a little bit more work, and you're going to have to be a little bit more creative, and you're going to have to research the topic, you're going to have to write a script, you're going to have to do the voiceover, and you're going to have to edit the video. Now I know that sounds like a lot of work, but it's going to be worth it in the end, just because this is something that nobody can replicate. Anybody can go ahead and take an interview from a style and add some subtitles, but not everybody can go ahead and do this portion too. This is a new portion that I'm messing with right now, and I'm going to show you a final product that I did regarding this style as well too, but I'm also going to show you the interview style and how to do it as well. So what are some niche examples? Sports. If you're a big sport person, if you like basketball, soccer, football, whatever sport it may be, You can also go ahead and post highlights of these on shorts. And because a lot of people are interested in them, odds are you're probably going to go ahead and get a lot of views on there and gain some traction, especially if that's something you want to continue posting down the line. Personal development. This is my favorite one just because it involves an interview style one like I was saying before, and all you have to do is really put subtitles in there, just add some color, some more effects like zooming in and zooming out. And this is probably one of the easiest ones. But again, this is also very saturated, as said before. Finally, space. Now, these are just a few examples. There's obviously tons and tons of different niches that you can go into, but I recommend doing your own research. Make sure you find other channels that have done it before. Make sure you found other channels that have been successful with it, and make sure you know you can replicate it and also do it even better. Behind the scenes editing. So a few days ago, I went ahead and posted I tried YouTube Shorts for 30 days, and there I quickly summed up what I did and the results I got after a month. This involved finding the video, clipping it, and finally editing it, and I used Final Cut Pro, but of course you can use any different type of software as well. You can use Adobe Premiere, or if you want other free options, I'm also going to show you how to use it on CapCut. So this clip over here is from a 45-minute podcast interview style video, and I just went ahead and just took a chunk of it. So it's about a minute 20-second worth of content, and I need to go ahead and reduce that to under a minute so I can actually post it as a short. So right here, I'm just making a bunch of different cuts and just removing either the pauses or just unnecessary words. And this also does help with fair use, just so it's just not one monotonous video. And on top of that, I'm also centering Gary Vee, centering the different hosts over there too, just so it looks a lot neater and cleaner. And once I finish, I'm gonna move on to the next step, which is actually putting captions. And I'm using Captionator for this, and this is only available for Final Cut Pro. It is a paid plugin. If you do have Final Cut Pro, you could use this. Otherwise, I'll show you how to use a different software, which is CapCut. And right here, this is where I get to customize it. So I always like leaving my text white, and I always like using the bold font. And size depends, but I usually keep it around 90. And as far as the words on the screen, I keep it at around 3 or 4. And I'm blurring this part out just because it shows my other channel names and I don't want that out there. So yeah, after that, I just go ahead and just generate the text and just give it like a little bit. Just give it a few seconds for it to go ahead and load, and then it'll show up in your project section in Final Cut Pro. So I go ahead and just copy the whole thing and just paste it onto here. And as you can see, it came out pretty decent. There are some errors, there are some things that have to be adjusted, but for now, I'm gonna do it manually just to show it that you can do it. And this is how I did it at first. And trust me, it did take a long time to go ahead and do it. But right here, I just go ahead and just change the text too. So I change it to the bold font. I change the size as well. And I'm just manually listening, pausing, cutting all these different scenes right here. And then finally putting in the words. And it came out pretty nice. Although I'm not going to do that for the whole clip, I'm going to go ahead and use the generated subtitles just to make it a little bit quicker. And even though it's generated and does most of the work for you, it's not 100% perfect. And you could see here, I'm making further edits as well too. I'm making some cuts just because it just wasn't that accurate. And sometimes some words were a little bit too long. They had like 5, 6, 7 words, and I just didn't like that. But after all that's finished, I went ahead and added my watermark, and I also went ahead and added a background music as well too. And I just took this from my previous clips that I used. And as far as music goes, you can use any non-copyrighted music, preferably. After all that's done, this is what the final product looks like. And again, once I go ahead and post this on the Gary Vee site, I'm also going to go ahead and share a link down in the description down below. So hopefully you like that as well too. But yeah, now moving on to for CapCut. And you can go ahead and just use this either on your mobile phone or on your computer. I'm using it obviously on Mac right now, but I'm just basically just dragging in the file that I have and just importing it to CapCut so I can go ahead and make my edits. And right here I have the whole video, so I'm gonna go ahead and just drag it onto my timeline. But there's a problem, which is the aspect ratio. So if I just head over here to the center where it says original, just go ahead and put it in 9:16 so the aspect ratio is phone size, and also go ahead and adjust that. And what I'm doing now is just going through the entire scene, and then just like before, just picking and choosing to see which scenes are worth keeping and which ones aren't. So I'm cutting out just the blank spaces, I'm cutting out certain words that don't make it flow, and overall goal is just make it flow naturally and make sure it all makes sense. And this does take me a little bit of time to do, but afterwards it just gets a lot quicker as well too. And once all that's done, I go ahead and head to the upper left hand corner, the text, go ahead and add text, add captions, and then just give it a few seconds. So this is loading in real time right now. It doesn't take too long. I believe this took like 7 seconds, and then boom, all the subtitles are automatically generated. So before looking at the actual text, I want to go ahead and just make some adjustments. So I change the color, change the size. I also want to go ahead and change the font. So they don't have the bold font in CapCut unless I can't find it. I end up finding a pretty nice one, which is Bangers. I think it looks pretty cool. Just change the color, change the size, and that should be all good so I can actually start editing. But it's not always 100%, which is fine just because it does the majority of the work. And right here I'm just making adjustments, making some cuts because sometimes there were just way too many words, and I'm also adjusting the size further. So after all that's done, I want to go ahead and add additional text, and this is going to be for my watermark. So in the upper left hand corner, just drag that, and right here I'm going to write daily V clips, and then of course just change the typical red color that I use and find whatever font, and also change the opacity, and I think it looks pretty nice. But I'm not done yet because I still want to go ahead and just make any final adjustments, and as you can see here, I still see that there's too many words in some of the scenes, so I just go ahead and cut them down so they're not like bombarded with a lot of words during it. And I think it ended up looking pretty nice. And again, I'll go ahead and leave a link to this also down below once I post it. But once all that's done, I still need one more thing, which is going to be music. And I just used my previous songs I used before, and so that was pretty simple. And to go ahead and export it, on the upper right hand corner, click export, choose your file settings, then click export, and you're basically done, and that's basically it. And finally, my case study. So the channel I created over a month ago is Daily V Clips, and I'm going to show you behind the scenes of it. So I also mentioned previously that I was working on more custom styles, and I actually went ahead and did it too, just to go ahead and show you. So this is where more creativity comes in, and a lot more work, just because you're going to have to be the one that does the research to the topic, does the voiceover, does the script, and edits the video to go ahead and put a final product. But the good thing is, this isn't something that anybody can copy. Not everybody can go ahead and do this because it takes a lot more work. And so I was thinking of what kind of topic to think about, and since I was already using Daily V Clips, I figured why not do a story on Gary V and how he basically came to be. So I went on his original website over here, GaryVaynerchuk.com, checked out his biography, and then I just read the information over here. So I went ahead and just made a summary on this Google Doc here, and then you could see this was the original one I made. I read it over, and it was like 222 words, I believe, which ended up being way too long because I had to go ahead and rush through my words, and it would be over 60 seconds. So I went ahead and just cut it down to this over here. Now I want to get a little bit more into this script too, because honestly I'm pretty proud of it. So the first thing I wanted to go ahead and do is just make sure it loops. So I was thinking of what kind of sentence I could use, and as I was going through the actual story over here, I noticed this right here, purebred entrepreneur. So that's when I came up with this line, and that's why Gary V calls himself the purebred entrepreneur. So you're going to go ahead and see this later on and how it actually goes ahead and flows, but that was my basis of the script. And then afterwards, I was just going back and forth through over here, and just starting from his early childhood. So some key takeaways were Belarus, 1978, his entire family, and then over here it starts talking about his early life. When he was 7, he started lemonade stands, made a lot of money selling baseball cards, and so that's basically what I put here. And now I didn't do it word for word, I did it in my own words, just to make it as unique as possible. So here you can see it all started when Gary V fled from Belarus in 1978, escaping the Soviet Union. Now, the Soviet Union, I don't believe it says it over here, but since I do watch Gary V and I know about his content, I know he came from the Soviet Union, so I just figured, hey, I might as well just put this in here. And then they landed in Queens and later moved to New Jersey. So I just started explaining a little bit too much here. I went ahead and made some adjustments down here, and I'll show you that later on. But right here, this is the important part. And from a young age, Gary had to work for everything. He had no handouts. And right over here, I know there's controversy as far as handouts, just because there's a lot of hate with Gary V saying like, oh, you never made your own money, you know, everybody, your parents helped you and all that. So I figured that would spark some controversy, and I might get some comments from that, and I'll show you later, it actually did. So he made a lemonade stand to make a few bucks, and eventually went on to make thousands selling baseball cards and toys in high school. By 14, he joined the family wine business, making a few bucks an hour, and that's when he really made an impact. He grew his father's business from $4 million to over $60 million over the course of 13 years. He gave away his 20s to build a huge empire for his dad, and he saw none of it. By 2008, when everyone was panicking, Gary V took action and would change the course of his career forever. So right over here, this is where a lot of stuff gets skipped. So I took it from this part here. There's a little bit more to it, but I basically ended up skipping to 2009 and this $1 million book. I thought the audience might be a little bit confused when they watch it, and hopefully that would lead to comments. But I basically just skipped to he landed $1 million deals in HarperCollins, and the same year he co-founded VaynerMedia with his younger brother AJ. And again, all that information is right over here as well too. In 2009, his younger brother AJ Vaynerchuk, Gary then co-founded VaynerMedia in 2009 with his younger brother AJ. And then you could see that same year he co-founded VaynerMedia with his younger brother AJ. And then Gary made a huge name for himself in social media, predicting the rise of Twitter, LinkedIn, and TikTok, and he took action every single time. So that's the part that doesn't say it over here. So it mentions over here how active Gary is in social media, saying he has over 44 million combined followers across these platforms. But since I do listen to him, I know he always mentions like, you got to get on this, you got to get on that. And every time he was right. A lot of people always ignored him on that. Like, oh yeah, sure, Gary, it's going to happen. It all ended up being true. He went ahead and did all these things early, and then it ended up reaping massive rewards later on because of it. And then now worth over $200 million, he made his money, but is working towards bigger goals to make impacts in the lives of millions. So I just Googled how much his network is worth. They said $200 million. That could be accurate. That could also not be accurate. But I figured some people might comment on this saying, oh, there's no way it's that, or they might be like, that's so inaccurate or whatever. But I just did it just to put a number at this point. And then the ending, and that's why Gary Vee calls himself, and then it goes all over again. So again, I was pretty proud of that sentence over there. But of course, this script was a little bit too long, so I ended up just changing it and just making it shorter. So I took some unnecessary things out. And right over here, I think the least important was they landed in Queens and later moved to New Jersey. That I don't think it was worth including that, so I just skipped that altogether. The lemonade stands and baseball was definitely important. And then I went ahead and just changed this paragraph over here, because before I believe I put over the course of 13 years, he gave away his 20s to build a huge empire for his dad. But right here, I just combined that in one sentence. So by 14, he joined the family wine business and will give his entire 20s. He grew his father's business from 4 million to 60 million over the course of 13 years. So I said it in that way instead. And then by the time he left, he didn't see a penny of it. So it still says the same story, but it just shortens it. Over here, everything else was basically similar over here. I didn't change much here. But after I went ahead and did the script, I went ahead and just recorded it myself. So just like I'm doing right now, I went ahead and recorded it. Read it a few times just so make sure it sounds naturally. And in the end, I think the voiceover could have been a lot better. I wasn't too enthusiastic about it when I read it, even though I thought I did sound it. But you learn over time. And then right over here, I went ahead and edited it in Final Cut Pro. And of course, you can go ahead and use whatever editor you use, but I use Final Cut for this. And right here, you can see there's a lot kind of going on over here with the timeline, but don't get too, caught up in this. So before I went ahead and started editing, I wanted to see which images to use. So before even getting to this point, let me actually go back to here. I went ahead and saw what stuff could I use. So the purebred entrepreneur, I was thinking I could use text for this. Fled from Belarus in 1978, escaping the Soviet Union. I was thinking, okay, I can probably use an airplane, use a map, and make it moving, just to make it more interactive. From a young age, Gary had to work for everything and no handouts. I was thinking, okay, include younger pictures of Gary Vee. And so I had to go ahead and do this with all the little sentences just so there's a story being told. Because if you just put like one picture, it just gets a little boring. I think I could have done a much better job, but I just wanted to go ahead and just get it done, honestly, just to prove I can. And I think it ended up being, okay. I think it definitely could have needed more work. I could have included some videos, for example, instead of just using zoom in pictures. But I mean, you be the judge. Let me know what you think of this video. And right over here, you can see, I'll just play it a little bit. The purebred entrepreneur. It all started when, and then right over here, you can see how the story is being told, like the purebred entrepreneur. And then right here, all right, in 1978, Gary flew from Belarus. From a young age, he was given no handouts. At 7, he started a lemonade stand. Made a lot of money selling baseball cards and toys in high school. Let's see, worked at his father's wine shop. From a young age, turned it from 4 million to 60 million. He gave away his 20s. Right there, I really like this one just because it showed a picture of him really young in high school and all of a sudden him as an older man, saying he gave away his 20s. I thought that was kind of creative, but you let me know if you think so too. And oh yeah, he didn't see a penny of it. In 2008, when everybody else was worried, he took action. He got $1 million deal in HarperCollins. 2009, he created VaynerMedia with his brother AJ. Let's see. Did really well. He predicted the rise of Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok. Took action every single time. And right here, I went ahead and did it to the beat. So took action every single time. I messed up a little bit on this one. I didn't notice, but like I said, I could have done better. And right over here, now he's made his money. He has a net worth of over $2 million. He's made his money, but he's looking to help others along the way. And that's why Gary Vee calls himself the purebred entrepreneur, and it just keeps going and going that way. And again, I'll link the video to this down below as well too. Notice how I was able to tell the story again just with the pictures. I wasn't reading from the script. I mean, yeah, I memorized it, I remembered a little bit of it, but with the pictures you can see what's happening. And again, this isn't the perfect example, but this is an example of what something custom would be like, and I just want to go ahead and show you. So hopefully you find value in this over here as well too. Now moving on to the actual case study, this is going to be the Gary Vee channel. So my first video I uploaded would be September 14th. I made a video on this as well too, just to see what kind of traction I would get within a month. And if you want to go ahead and watch a little bit more of that and what improvements I could have made, make sure to go ahead and click that video. But this is what the back end looks like. I posted a lot. I think one thing I could have done was just be even more consistent, be even more hard on shorts, just because like I said, there's not a lot of supply on them and there's a lot of demand. So I could have pumped out a lot more shorts rather than just focusing on 1 or 2 a day. I could have gone overboard, done 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 maybe, just to see what happens. But of course, I still would have had the maintained quality as well too. And it can get tough, especially if you're the only one doing it. But it is possible. You just have to have the time to go ahead and do it and also get efficient. And as far as my analytics go, from start to finish, no, not last 28 days, the lifetime, you could see, it got 84,000 views. This watch time doesn't matter right now, and 90 subscribers. So in my other video, I thought it would go ahead and go a little bit more viral than this. But at this point, it's just kind of being done for fun. Oh, I lost a subscriber. At this point, it's just being done for fun, just to see and prove that I can do it. But this isn't my main focus. My main focus would be on my faceless channels that I'm having my team go ahead and actually work on it. And as far as shorts go, I recently started implementing shorts on that channel too. Before I did this similar style to have somebody, famous go ahead and be in the videos too. And it did work for a time, but I just ended up stopping doing that way. And now I'm just focusing more on custom. And so I have my script ready to go ahead and do that, but I'm still working on building my other team that's dedicated to shorts. But yeah, that's about it. Hopefully you found some value in just seeing a little bit more of this too. Anyway, thanks for watching, and hopefully you found some value in this video. And if you have any questions, please leave it down in the comments below. And also don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. And until next time, bye.